And then we drove to his house and, my stomach dropped. Because, when something has happened, you see cars outside the house. So when I saw, I think 2 cars outside the house, I just knew that this is not a prank.
Okay, this is real.
Yeah, so by the time I walked into the house, my knees were weak.
Eish.
And already, part of the Kunene family, because those are the ones that are here in Johannesburg, was already sitting. The house was already giving those vibes that something has happened.
Yes.
So, yeah, I just remember feeling weak in the knees, trying to get whatever the story was. And I stopped crying at that time. I couldn't cry. And then at some point, I think I dropped to the floor.
Eish.
Probably, would have a Nigerian movie type of cry. And a lot happened in that moment, which is going to speak to why I keep speaking about this case. Because some suspicious events around me occurred. Because I'm an observant person. I was grieving, but I think I went into suspicion mode. Because when I had heard the story that he had been shot on an outing, I just imagined Xolani was an alpha. He could be aggro, granted. You weren't going to start a fight with him and think you're going to get away with it. He was that guy who back up to you. And also with the roasting, I thought maybe he roasted someone and they took it the wrong way and it turned into something else. That's what I had in my mind.
Okay.
And when I get to the story, how they mentioned this Buhle. At that time, I couldn't connect who Buhle was, but then he had a lot of friends. They mentioned this Buhle who had come to him over a business deal and so forth.
Who's narrating this now?
It's Nosi who's telling me.
Okay.
It's Nosi who's telling me an account of how he left the house.
Okay.
So she told me that there was this Buhle. She was narrating that Ubuhle, he had tried to be in business. So this is hearsay on my part. He had tried to do business with him years ago. He basically had screwed him over a deal. Buhle had screwed Xolani over monies that were supposed to be paid out of a project. And they hadn't been talking for years. So he came back on some, let's chase this tender and so forth. And Xolani was like, even though we didn't end off on a nice note, we've got to hustle for the kids. And also he had a forgiving heart, in as much as he just had a forgiving heart. So to him, Buhle would have been someone he knows from childhood and it's okay. Let's mend the bridge, whatever the story is. So he had opened up his heart, his mind, his skills, from what I hear, to a potential project with Ubuhle. So this is being narrated to me. And there's my older brother, Mthokozisi, with me at this point. Our younger sister stays in Newcastle, so she wasn't there. So from a Mhlongo family perspective, it was just the 2 of us, because the older generation is gone, Gran is gone, most of the people in the family would have died, and the few that's remaining are in Newcastle.
Hello and welcome back to the Hope Revolution podcast. My name is Mraro and I'm overjoyed to have you as part of this amazing episode once again. The purpose of this platform, as you know, is to give a platform to anyone who wants to share their story, share their experience, so that you and I could then learn from what they experience. We also want to just empower people that feel that where they are, they don't have a voice and they want to just come through and tell the world with regards to whatever it is that they would have experienced. We also want to learn from these experiences, right? We also want to sort of draw lessons in terms of how are these people navigating the challenges and how can we navigate those challenges when we get to them. The other thing that we want to do is try and help whoever that has come to the platform. We want to try and assist them in the perspective that we want to see what is it that they need. Can we help them where they need help? So today we've got Sisindi, who decided to come through and share her story with us. Sawubona Sisindi.
Sawubona Butmulani.
Thank you so much for taking time to come through to our platform and share your story.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. So we are navigating life. Today's episode is quite a tricky one because we took time off in between. I wanted to just jump into the story so that I could then, me and the viewers could then understand, would see what brings you here today. But maybe before we get there, usindubani. And umuntu wakuphula njani, and also maybe let's get a little bit of a context with who you are.
No, that's okay. So Sindisiwe wakamhlongo.
Okay.
I'm from Newcastle. I was born and raised in Newcastle, in a township called Osizweni.
Okay.
So I am from a family of directly 4 siblings, but I grew up in an extended family. I was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
So we lost our mother, the 4 of us as siblings, at the tender age of, I was 8 at the time. My older brother was 12. And Xolani, the person I'm here for or speaking for, would have been about 10 years old at the time. And then we have a sister who's the youngest. There's like a 7-year gap. So there was 2 years in between the rest of us.
Okay.
And then there's last born. So there were 2 aunts. There was an uncle. So yes, extended family in the truest sense of the word. Inganza Gogo. I like saying that. I'm very proud of the fact that Sakhuliswa Gogo, I think, if we were to talk about my character, it matches her. She was such a matriarch, although at certain points I've grown to hate a strong matriarch. But, sometimes it is what it is. She was such a matriarch, such a strong, yet gentle and loving person, like a combination of strong and gentle. And that's how I describe myself today. So I emulate my grandmother, with a bit more of the modern swag because she didn't wear weaves.
No, I think there's some rich context to where you come from.
Yeah.
And some of us downplay the importance of those experiences and our upbringing and the people that were around us when we were growing.
Yeah.
And we forget what sort of, contribution they made to the people that we are, because we are literally a reflection of those people.
100%.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing on that. And then let's jump also into your story.
Yes.
What brings you here today?
Okay, so today it's a continued journey on my part to basically speak up for my departed brother, Xolani Kunene. Kunene. I use these surnames dually. You can call it Squele on my part. So to give a bit of background there around this bongo, because I've seen people asking me this question. He was raised Umhlongo, but as he grew as a man, he wanted to take the father's surname, Kunene. So he made a decision. He actually went rogue a bit because Granny was just like, my kids will forever be as a Umhlongo, because mom was not married when she had us. So she, grandmas, they're just like Mhlongo forever. So I think I probably carried that a bit, although it doesn't matter as much. But as he grew up, he changed to Ugunene and so forth. And it was so important for me to use both surnames so that people can understand who's this Sindisiwe Mhlongo fighting for. Xolani Kunene. Is that no? For me, he was always Mhlongo. I would roast him about it. But yes, Xolani Mhlongo Kunene. He was shot and killed. That was August 2022. I still use the word alleged, even though I believe the opposite. And that's because of my legal training and I understand the implications and so forth. But just putting out a disclaimer, I use it to be politically correct. But if you were to ask me separately, I do not believe in alleged, at all, as particularly in this case where the evidence is so clearing.
It's so clearing.
But yes, he was allegedly shot and killed by Ubuhle Lebohang Mabaso. Ubuhle is also from Newcastle. We were from Osizweni. Ubuhle was from the suburbs in Newcastle. Abizong Tua Ingagani. And Xolani, my brother, actually met Ubuhle Engakane, everyone has that rich aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
So you had our uncle who used to be a policeman, Ujabulani Mhlongo. He had his house Engakane. He had made it in life. And, Xolani loved going there because he had a good relationship with my uncle's wife.
Okay.
Umalmegazwe to end. So he visited there and we would visit on the occasion, Kwamalume, and this is where we meet Ubuhle. I met him once in my life and then I would meet him at court years later. But I could remember his face when they showed me because he stood out to me. I don't know whether, at that time, maybe God was telling me this man will impact your life, even though he's not your friend as kids, he's Xolani's friend. But I have a very clear memory of me teasing Xolani because we had a Tom and Jerry relationship. We were very close and we had a tease each other dynamic between the two of us. And he introduces me to this boy and they mentioned that his name Ubuhle. And I couldn't wait because I was the naughty younger sister for Ubuhle to leave. And I was like, so that's why really I remember him. And when I saw his picture as a grown-up, I was like, I've seen this face. And that memory immediately came to me that this is the boy I was laughing at for having Ikama Ubuhle. I'm sure he doesn't even have that memory, but I tend to remember memories from childhood very strongly.
Maybe before we jump into the actual incident, I want us to get context with regards to the person that your brother is or was.
Yeah.
I want us to go back to those vivid memories that you cherish, and I want you to tell us about him. What type of person was he as he was growing up until when you parted from him?
Yeah. So I'll just mention something. Xolani and I were not physically considered twins, even though he's only 2 years older than me. Personality-wise, I think his widow will always say to me, "You're like a female version of him." So two peas in a pod in terms of personality, and we clashed a lot because of that too. So if we go back to childhood, incredibly smart, a rebel. He was likely of all the siblings to be the one who gets in trouble. So he always knew himself. He always thought differently. And I think I worried he would become a criminal. I worried he would maybe become a criminal. And so he went against the odds in terms of how he shaped himself. We had our grandmother, a very strong person who definitely imprinted her personalities, because I see the common thread of her personality between me and my siblings. That is the humor and the extreme strength. Intellectually, our mother was the brains in the family. So her 4 kids intellectually have always been sharp. And Xolani was no exception. He actually was very smart. I can admit it now. It's funny, now that he's gone, I can admit that he was very smart, because we used to compete about who's the smarter one, who's the good-looking one. That was just our dynamic. But incredibly smart, very, very resolute about who he wanted to be in life. I remember, it's so easy, because we're being raised by Ukoko on her pension money. So we were one of the poor families in the location. Kwakwaziwa Ingane, we lost our mom. Ingane is Dandan, basically is Kuliswa Ukoko. So that was our brand. But I can say most of my confidence I got from observing Xolani. He never for 1 second treated himself like a kid who's being raised by Ukoko. I remember I saw from him, because we were going to schools in the township. Xolani was coming back with the kids that go to the suburban schools. He knew he was good looking, so he leveraged his looks. And he made friends that were seemingly doing better than him. When all the other kids were going to do, soccer and everything, he branded himself differently and started doing basketball. Actually, one of the founders of what they called it, Osizweni Bulls. And he was obsessed with Chicago Bulls. So that was his influence. He was just different from the context, obviously, of where we were being underprivileged. He was the kid that was not going to. And that also speaks to also his love for going to our uncle's house.
Okay.
Because I think he pretty much figured, this poor people story, these ones, you can stay here if you want.
Yeah.
Now I have a plan and I want to belong to a certain class. So he's a person who was always determined to define and mold a path for himself and as a man, such that of all us, the siblings, he was the first one and practically the only to actually, get married, lobola, and have his children within the context of marriage. So a very disciplined, God-fearing in how he moves, consistently working on himself.
Okay.
Posthumously, I found his diary and how he used to talk about his strongholds, with us, the trauma of not having a mother or parents at a young age, and, the abandonment issues that you get even though you have your grandmother. There's a sense of lack that you have, complex nyana, and how he addressed the anger issues that he had to battle as a man, not having a father there, and how he just defined the path he wanted to walk and be such a shining example of morals, and also just showing that even if you are from, people like calling it broken homes. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Okay.
It's not broken if it was never made that way. But him just saying, I'm going to charter a path. Also, he was the first person as he grew who said, I'm not going to be an employee forever. So he was working for Sifago as a civil engineer. And I remember being so proud because then he launched Imakedama Holdings.
Okay.
And, that's the company that he was going to be pushing and aiming for gold. And this is a person who had basically a billionaire's mindset. As hard as things were, honestly, I believe that he would have broken even at some point in his life. So very resolute, very self-aware, and consistently a student of life. That was Xolani. I've been quoted on this, very alpha. You would feel his presence when he walks into a room. He emitted aura. He emitted aura, and he would dominate spaces. And if you don't know him, you would think he's a bully. He liked roasting guys, like he wouldn't know you and he's getting on your nerves immediately. But the funniest thing, he would always end up friends with those people, and I'd be sitting there thinking, oh my God, Xolani, stop. We're going to get a bit up. And also like I said, emulating grandmother with that strong bravado, a very soft and loving person. I think sometimes he would hide how much of an empath and how much he feels. He did not like actually hurting people. So he would roast you until you cry. And when you cry, he'd be the first one to also hug you. To also hug you, crack jokes. And so, people then, went to him like magnets, guys. He was a guy's guy. They'd be like, no, that's an excellent bro. And I'm like, you look like you wanted to kill him, but okay.
I love how you describe him with such detail. And how you narrate his story, and, with such, detail, again, because it literally shows how you care about this person, not even cared in the past sense. And as you tell me about him and you tell us about him, one can definitely see the trajectory that of the person he was and the person he is, and the growth in between. Because as you speak, I am gathering such a deep journey of self-discovery with him. I'm gathering an element of him being an intellectual, him being an academic, him being a leader, him being an image of influence in the spaces he occupies. And ultimately that just tells you that there's a very serious sense of accountability where he's present, because there's no way you're going to get into marriage if you lack accountability. There's no
100%.
the way it's going to work. So I love these attributes that you're bringing forward, because once again, we are putting the stamp down in terms of, portraying the image of the person we're talking about.
Yes.
Whoever will watch this will have that perspective of saying, who exactly is this person?
Yeah.
And I love how you then go into detail with regards to that. He was truly gifted to have you. I wish I had a sister like you, who'd
I feel I was gifted to have him, but yeah.
who'd actually watch me move and tell people about me, to say, because someone said you die twice.
Yeah.
You die when you pass, and you die again when the last memory of you fades.
Yeah.
That last person who
That
knows
is
about
powerful.
you, when they go, you die again.
That is powerful.
And that is final. So I love the fact that you're impacted positively. And I assume that you're not the only person in your family
100%.
impacted.
But it's a known fact I was closest to him. Yes.
Powerful. I think let's just then jump into the matter of the day.
Yeah.
I know you have told this story many times.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's start from the beginning. What happened? I want us to go back to the moment you got the information. Where were you? What was happening there where you were? How were you feeling? Let's narrate this.
Let's go into that.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one thing. I spoke highly of him when he was alive. I used to have episodes where I post him.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest pride point that I have. That years prior, I would just post him. My brother this, my brother that. So it's good to appreciate people when they're alive. And I think this has also brought the balance for me. Because I want to mention, when he passed on, we were not talking. We were having sibling squabbles about stupid stuff as usual. But we're very similar. So that was pretty standard with us. We would not talk for a little time, and then something happens and we talk.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. We were not talking, and that would impact how I respond to getting news that he's missing.
Okay.
So Xolani had a mischievous character, so he was likely to prank you. To scare you. I have this recollection as kids when I was mad. I think Granny had whipped me for something and he had told on me because he was that brother. And I think I said I'm moving out of home, and I thought I was going to move out, but it was at night, and then I realized I'm scared to walk on the street. So I stayed behind the house because now I didn't want the embarrassment of going in. And he wore a grey blanket with my older brother, and they came to try and scare me.
Okay.
So mischief, big part of his persona.
Okay.
So when the news came, my mind immediately thought mischief.
Okay.
I was like, so Nosi, his widower or wife at the time, called me and said Xolani is missing and so forth. Xolani would enjoy a good time here and there, but he was always responsible. I don't want to paint him as a party animal. You would find him in a nice place, but he was a responsible person. So she said he hadn't come back, which was not usual to his character. So in my head, I thought, this one, maybe he decided for once, let me stay with the boys.
Okay.
And now he's concocting a way to come back home, mischievous, And then she calls me again. And then at some point, because the duo, Nosi and Xolani, was mischievous as well. They backed each other like crazy. At some point, I was like, why is she calling me? So I'm getting irritable because I'm thinking, I'm also not talking to this person. What if these two are doing this to scare me so that I start talking to Xolani again? So I was quite dismissive and irritable of her when she was calling me. And then she calls me and then tells me that police came and they were asking her if there's someone who can be close to her. Even at that moment, I was like, that's it.
Yeah. So at what time of the day did the call start?
So I'm struggling to remember, but it was still pretty light. It was during the day. So it was like progressively she was calling me.
Okay.
It must have been afternoon. I just remember there was still sun. That day becomes a play in some aspects, but there was still sunlight when we started talking, and I was busy with my own chores. And late in the afternoon, she tells me the police said they're going to come back. She should have someone that's close to her. In my head, I was like, okay, Xolani figures is in real trouble.
Okay.
Now he's recruited his friends to pose as police. And again,
Okay.
with me knowing the mischievous side of him, it's not something I would put past him. I may have been exaggerating
Yeah.
because, you know,
Yeah.
in Ghana, in your eyes, you're just like, ooh,
Yeah.
Petogo is giving,
that,
you know.
man? Yeah.
He's just decided,
Yeah.
let me give her a scare so she
Yes.
doesn't give me a hard time
Yeah.
for not being home. So that's my thinking.
Okay.
Until she calls me and now the breathing is different. And she's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? That was the first thing she said when she calls me. I'm like, what are we going to do? What's happened? She's like, and she was repeating words. So she was also traumatized.
Okay.
I'm like, what? And then she says he was shot and so forth. I don't even remember if I finished the call. I just let out the loudest. I can still get emotional. I let out the loudest scream. Probably a blood curling scream.
Ish.
Couldn't believe it. I think I went into shock and my son came. She fortunately didn't hang up. And
Okay.
my son was like, and he started sort of screaming to, like trying to comfort me as well. But now we're screaming and I talk to her. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to rationalize. And then the decision is that I'm going to come to her house. And she says to me, in the state that you're in, I don't think you should be driving.
Okay.
So I made 1 or 2 calls to close friends to take me to his house.
Okay.
And I remember one of my close friends came and, you know, took me and my son and we were crying. I just remember being hysterical. And I remember thinking, no way. So I was verbalizing in the car.
Okay.
That this is a joke. These guys, I'm so mad at them because I know this has to be a bad joke. They just want me to talk to him that my mind wouldn't
Okay.
stop associating with the joke because the reality was just crazy. And then we drove to his house and, you know, my stomach dropped because, you know, when something has happened, you see cars outside the
Yes.
house. So when I saw I think 2 cars outside the house, I just knew that this is not a prank.
Okay. This is real.
Yeah, so by the time I walked into the house, my knees were weak.
Ish.
And already, you know, part of the Kunene family, because those are the ones that are here in Johannesburg, was already sitting. The house was already giving those vibes that something has happened.
Yes.
So yeah, I just remember feeling weak in the knees, trying to get whatever the story was. And I stopped crying at that time. I couldn't cry. And then at some point, I think I dropped to the floor.
Ish.
Probably, you know, would have a Nigerian movie type of cry. And yeah, and a lot happened in that moment, which is going to speak to why I keep speaking about this case. Because some suspicious events around me occurred. Because I'm an observant person. I was grieving, but I think I went into suspicion mode. Because when I had heard the story that he had been shot on an outing, I just imagined Xolani was an alpha. He could be aggro, granted. You know, you weren't going to start a fight with him and think you're going to get away with it. He was that guy who'll back up to you. And also with the roasting, I thought maybe he roasted someone and they took it the wrong way and it turned into something else. That's what I had in my mind.
Okay.
And when I get to the story, how they mentioned this Bushle. At that time, I couldn't connect who Bushle was, but then he had a lot of friends. They mentioned this Bushle who had come to him over a business deal and so forth.
Who's narrating this now?
It's Nosi who's telling me.
Okay.
It's Nosi who's telling me an account of how he left the house.
Okay.
So she told me that there was this Bushle. She was narrating that Ubushle, he had tried to be in business. So this is hearsay on my part. He had tried to do business with him years ago. He basically had screwed him over a deal. Bushle had screwed Xolani over monies that were supposed to be paid out of a project. And they hadn't been talking for years. So he came back on some, let's chase this tender and so forth. And Xolani was like, even though we didn't end off on a nice note, we've got to hustle for the kids. And also he had a forgiving heart, you know, in as much as he just had a forgiving heart. So to him, Bushle would have been someone he knows from childhood and it's okay. Let's mend the bridge, whatever the story is. So he had opened up his heart, his mind, his skills, from what I hear, to a potential project with Ubuhle. So this is being narrated to me. And there's my older brother, Mtogozisi, with me at this point. Our younger sister stays in Newcastle, so she wasn't there. So from a Mhlongo family perspective, it was just the two of us, because the older generation is gone, Gran is gone, most of the people in the family would have died, and the few that's remaining are in Newcastle. So when Mtogozisi is reacting as a guy would, you know, he had been out drinking as well. He actually got there because I called him. I had to do those calls. So after Nosi did the call to me, you know, I took over. You know, I think the position of being a matriarch followed me. I wasn't even aware that I'm assuming a lot of control already. But I did the call to our older brother, and he comes. He's obviously upset. He was so blindsided by the news. I remember that for a while we were discussing what happened, and it was like he caught on while we were talking. He was like, wait, Xolani actually died. I thought we were talking about someone in hospital. So he hadn't even heard me. Because Xolani was such a larger-than-life personality that it's not someone you imagine dying. And he used to joke because he had almost been shot, actually funny, years prior. And he had managed to, you know, I don't know, he managed to find hiding and the bullets went past him. I remember him telling me this. And he joked and he said, I'm not the dying type. So a very big, larger-than-life you know, personality that you start believing it subconsciously, I guess, in a way. You don't see someone like that dying. So my brother, I could tell that he couldn't fathom. And once that landed, he went into a rage. So he was making utterances. He was actually angry at the time. So he said, whoever did that to my brother, I'm going to get them. I will, you know, unalive them myself. And there was this guy. I'm mentioning this bravely because I will name without fear. His name is Zugile Diliza. He was a friend to Xolani. He had slept on Xolani's couch when he was going through hard times. Zugile was there because there was friends and family now in Xolani's house. And I just recall Zugile responding to my brother when he was making those threats that I'm going to get whoever, we must investigate and leave no stone unturned. And Zugile kept saying, you guys shouldn't be investigating this. You must let it go. And when my brother made the threat, he said, I mean, if you threaten to harm someone, then Nathi sizokphakama. He's a Xhosa speaking kid. Nathi sizawuphakama. And, you know, because I was in trauma, I remember capturing this, but I didn't respond. It was like, you almost can't believe what you're hearing.
Exactly.
And so I heard this guy repeatedly. Like, unfortunately, you know, people are scared. I don't think people who heard him with me would repeat. But I remember that later on, my brother started recalling that, yes, there was this background chatter this guy kept doing. But I think we were just so emotionally vulnerable in that moment that, for me, like typical me would have questioned immediately. But traumatized me, who's processing everything, did not respond. It was like I was dumbfounded. I did not respond to this guy.
Because when I hear that statement, Nathi.
So Pagam. Yes.
So he's speaking in plural. So he's sort of representing.
Yeah. So I do this on the premise that I don't believe Ubuhle acted alone, even if he's not revealing who this may have been discussed with. But I'll tell you now that Ubuhle, Uzugile, and Xolani at some point were in a 3-party WhatsApp group. And this information, again, is hearsay from my side. I got from Unosipo. So Uzugile was very much a part of whatever discussions were there on that 3-part conversation. I don't know how far those conversations went. I'm not sure how much the police got. From what they told us, they said they didn't find anything incriminating. So I remain suspicious of Uzugile. I don't trust him. And I'm not ashamed to name him because, so that happened. So we went through the night. So before we go through the night, I want to mention, because I've never brought this aspect in.
Okay.
My focus has always been ubuhle, but I just feel like it's either the migrant SAPS is taking a piss on my family, on Xolani's legacy, and people think we're stupid. I'm not speaking, it's because I think there's just more, there's forces behind this. So this Zugile character, that following morning, around 5 a.m., I was up. Now I just got in, basically became a Rahadi. I don't even speak Sutu, but when they say Rahadi in the truest sense, I was up about in the house trying to see that everything is okay. Because now, you grow up by force, the older generation is not there. And I understand now that Xolani's sister is me. There's no family here in Joburg. So I'm up very early in the morning doing some chores. And Uzugile comes back. He had left.
Okay.
So he comes back. He's in panic. Like I don't know if you can say a black man was ash white on his face. He's holding his head. He's like, yo, sissy, my phone, I think I lost it. I think I left it here. I can't lose that phone. That phone has a lot of information. And I remember just feeling dumbfounded. But now I'm looking at him. Like, what do you know? But I don't confront him. I'm like, what do you know? So he left. He was looking for his phone. He left in the AMs. And I want to pedal back because I'm forgetting some detail around the Zugile again. So the night prior, before he left, a lady dressed in traditional attire. It seemed like Sangoma attire because it wasn't Heritage Day. Sangoma attire came in with Zugile. As it turns out, they knew Xolani. Umama lo. And I can't remember her name now, but seemed very closely affiliated to Zugile. They came, they took Unosi upstairs to the bedroom, the master bedroom that she shared with Xolani. And they basically said to her, they're prepared to cover funeral expenses, support her financially, whatever she needs and so forth. At this time, I think, in my mind, I'm representing Mama, I'm representing Ukoko. There is no one in the family. Umamncane okade sakhona, God bless her departed soul. She passed on, that following or 2 years later.
Right.
But umamncane osekhaya, she had her own mental struggles. She was not someone who was going to leave, and we needed someone at home, and my younger sister at home. That's basically the two grown-ups that were left at home. The other mamncane that's left, the only one left remaining, is married. You know how African culture works.
True.
So at this point, yes, I'm like mother hen in terms of observing everything, because I understand. I'm just like, there has to be dignity in this.
Yes.
My brother, how we manage it and everything. So they take her upstairs. And I remember just having a feeling of discomfort. And I think, obviously, at that time, even though a lot of things hadn't registered, I remembered this guy was making utterances. I hadn't merged it, but at the back of my head, I think there was discomfort when I looked at him. So I went up uninvited to the bedroom. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I'm sure I came with a heavy energy, Rahadi mode.
Yeah.
And then Unosi mentioned that they want to help with the funeral expenses. And for some reason, I don't know, things were tough. I want to mention this. Financially, there was no money because Xolani was running his own business. COVID had hit hard. He was going through it financially. And this is why he also entertained this idea, because money was dry. Financially, dry, the driest. So at that time, not a cent in sight around how we're going to bury him. They had been struggling, Beno Nosipo, financially. This is quite important because this is how he was lured into these conversations. So when they come to make this offer, they know very well that money was a problem because Zugile was close to Xolani at the time. Well, Xolani was more like acting like a counselor to Zugile, who was going through a whole lot of things with his wife at the time. I'm not sure if the divorce was finalized, but basically he was a man struggling who would sleep on Xolani's couch emotionally and everything. So they say there's this financial offer. And I said to them, for me now, stepping into this Rahadi role, I said, the family hasn't said. We haven't. This is not a conversation you guys need to be leading. Unosi is not alone. I am here. There's family in Newcastle. There's a bit of a dynamic around the Kunenes, and it's no disrespect to them. Yes, they showed up in support, but because Xolani hadn't followed tradition in changing his surname, and also there were Kunenes that were friends, and then the Kunenes where the bloodline comes from.
Okay.
So Kunene Mtimande, Kunene Mgoza. There's these two surnames, and the ones that were in the house that night mainly were the Kunene Mtimandes, which were friends. So Xolani had built a brotherhood for himself with boys from Newcastle that are from the Kunene Mtimande.
Okay.
So, but because of the similar surname, they embraced each other. So they came through like family, and then there was the Kunene Mgozas and so forth, which just no different from the Mhlongo family, from an impoverished background, so forth. So there was no money to be brought forward. So I was standing up from so many aspects, understanding that this responsibility is going to fall on us, whoever's left of the Mhlongo family financially. So I said to them, at this time, back of my mind, even though my delivery was more polite, I said, the family has not said.
Okay.
Because for me, you know, if someone else is going to lead the conversation, you're going to feel like you're being undermined. Because this person is a widower right now. She's vulnerable. Yes, you want to help, but you should be asking, who are the elders? Who's standing for the family?
Yeah.
That didn't happen. You took her alone and said, we're going to help. As if the expectation was almost as if we know Unosi is alone. And I must mention, someone would think that because, you know, in as much as we are grown up now, if you look at our family structures, because mom is not there, gran is not there, uncle is departed. So there was this expectation that there's going to be an ease around how this moves because only kids are left. And if someone understood that the siblings are fighting right now, then they would definitely think that Nosi is alone.
That's a loophole we can exploit.
Yes. That's, for me, when I look back, that's how I see it, including how the case has been managed to date. So they came in. So I basically made it clear that there's going to be someone who's here who's going to ask questions, who's going to want you to be in your place if you want to help.
Yeah.
So they left. And then the following morning, going back to Uzugile being present, that's when he comes and he's looking for his phone and he's in a panic and he says there's information. So I said, I don't know where his phone is. And we would see him later that following week once when we did the memorial.
Okay.
And I just remember there were looks exchanged between me and Uzugile because at that point now I was at a level of heightened because for me I was like, it's people close to Xolani that know what happened and they're not telling us the truth. This Uzugile knows and I don't know who else is involved. So I don't want to lie. I did not trust anyone.
Okay.
At that time. I think I was looking at almost everyone with suspicion because for me, intuitively, I was like, people close to the situation led my brother to his death and they just led him like a goat to his slaughter, basically, and they pretended with him.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you think about Ubuhle and how this thing happened, they pretended with him. These are people who did not want to see him successful. So in my head, this is what is playing in my head. First, he was robbed out of a deal. Then they came back, exploiting his circumstances, the guy who has worked so hard in his life and led him to his death. So I didn't trust anyone. And I remember him and I just exchanged funny looks.
Okay.
And I probably had this look like the one I'm giving you now that someday you'll have to answer because I know something is not right here. And that was the last we saw of Zugile.
Okay.
They never came back to ask how are we going with the funeral expenses.
Okay.
They never came back. It basically technically fell on me and I had to figure it out and we had support.
Okay.
But I was basically engineering everything and yes, a lot from my own pocket. That was my brother. It was the last big act of love. So no regrets around that. We did what was necessary and we gave him a dignified funeral.
Because if you are genuine in your attempt to assist, you consistently come back.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, fine. Look, this is my friend who passed away.
Yeah.
A brother of mine. Right?
Yeah.
We were hustling together.
I slept on his couch.
Exactly. So I should be there. I should actually continue sleeping on that couch.
Like, even if I had come off a certain way, maybe, I don't know. I think my delivery was still neat. But even if I'd come off a certain way, you would be understanding that people emotional, but hey guys, I'm still here. None of that. I know, because we went through the ringer because money was not there.
Yeah.
And he never came back. He came to the memorial, never came back, never checked in. As far as I know from Nosi, Zugile never reached out to check how we're doing, how's the case progressing. He never did. This is a second aspect that I didn't cover in the cover because I want to just bring different aspects that I didn't cover initially. The second aspect of this is that when we went and the police told us that they'd caught Bushe on the run, these were their words. This is Sergeant Trom. I'm dropping names, I'm not holding back. Sergeant Trom or investigating officer Trom, Midrand SAPS, made promises to us. We have apprehended him. We want to make sure he stays in jail for the next 7 days. There's time period, legal perspective. I want to put a disclaimer, not well vested in criminal law.
Okay.
And then she said there is no way he's going to get bail. We are going to make sure. Spoke passionately that he doesn't get bail. Also, drew the impression to us that she arrived on scene when, Xolani was being picked up by the ambulance and so forth. She even said to us, hey, umoya wakhe ulwile. He didn't die very easily at the hospital. He fought to stay. Okay. So at all times, Nosi and I were of the impression that Trom was one of the first people to arrive on the scene with another, young constable, I can't remember his name, who said he knows Xolani and he's the one who identified Xolani on the scene. That's the picture that was painted to us. Now I'm going to go back because Mitra and SAPS has a lot to answer for. Okay. So Trom, when I got there, and she showed me the footage. And this is, I was probably the only one, and who chose to watch the video. Nosi couldn't, the rest of the people couldn't. And I felt like my strongest intuition was, I want to know what happened because the person is apprehended. I don't want to hear from them. I want to see for myself because I don't want to be lied to.
Yes, to be told, yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that video, which was a trauma for me on its own, but I watched it because I wanted to know what's happened. And I saw for myself that the alleged killer Ubushe was acting like he's shooting a music video. There was bravado and brazenness in what he was doing. And I said to Trom, you need to get a hold of Zugile because he's acting like a man with a burning conscience. And if you question him now, you might get something. So for me, even though Bushe was apprehended, I felt like there was a bigger
picture.
Story to this. Sergeant Trom never listened to me. She never followed up on Uzugile. And I mean, we're here today. Yes, the case is ongoing. But if ever there was a plot, if this was planned and an opportunity to prove that this was planned prior, we lost it then. Maybe Zugile wouldn't have cooperated, but we'll never know because as the family, we were not listened to. So that was the first sign of being disregarded. But I guess I was too emotional at the time. Okay. But that's us being disregarded because I am telling you, someone made a threat and this was fresh off the cuff. This guy made a threat to my brother that something would happen to him if he decides to do something. That's a threat on its own. Why are you not following up on the threat? Exactly. Why is he making a threat? Exactly. Sergeant Trom disregarded that information. And again, we never heard from Uzugile, and then it led to the disappointments. We were told he's not going to bail. When we arrived at court, we heard the matter had been called, and it was early, 8:30. The matter had been called. The prosecutor Gianni, didn't even oppose this. We were told bail was going to be opposed. We, as the family, victim family, should have a voice in this. And then, we were told, you know what, there's nothing we could have done. He's a first-time offender on record. I believe he's a first-time offender on record. Because anyone who can hold a gun like that, you can't convince me this person has not handled a gun like that. Before. And I wonder who else has been affected or been killed and there was no evidence. Because clearly someone who can do it like that trusts that they can buy them their way out. Only God knows.
So I also want to come back again to the timeline, right?
Yeah.
Because we're now talking about the case. This is at a later point where now you as a family have gone through the burial. You've
Yes.
done the whole scenario. I don't want to lose the details that you're bringing forward now because some of these have not been shared before.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate focus was on the act itself.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the build-up. Now the funeral, you've arranged the funeral out of pocket. You have fought to make this happen for your brother.
Yes.
You've put him to rest. Let's continue now with regards to what then happens going forward.
Okay, we've put him to rest, and the expectation is that there's going to be a case ongoing. No, we come back. There's the emotional aspect, of course, where everyone is trying to make sense. I think for me, it was just trauma. When I look back right now, I was a walking trauma case, and you know, I would speak about it on a work call. I made people uncomfortable. People don't want to keep hearing that. I would talk about the case. I was always trying to distance myself from it, like an outsider looking in. And obviously, the conversation came, and I have a screenshot. I'm going to post it on my TikTok. Okay. The lawyer reached out to me, Mr. Winston, Bush's lawyer, and said that he got my numbers from investigating officer Drom.
Okay.
Now, you have to ask yourself the question, why is an investigating officer giving a victim's family's number to the defendant's attorney? Why is there a relationship of that nature between these two?
The two?
Is that supposed to be happening? I don't know. You know, people operating criminal law could comment on that. I never responded to Mr. Waynes. I still have the message. And it's funny because I've lost phone, but that message, for some reason, has stayed there. Like a piece of evidence maybe I would need.
So send you a text message?
He sent me a text message on his personal line, Mr. Winston, and he said he is Bush's lawyer and he wants to meet with us. And, you know, Drom mentioned also to me that they want to meet with us. You know, at that time, we were vulnerable. Obviously, I entertained the conversation. I'm thinking about the kids. Nosi, is this what you want to do? I don't want to be a bully Rahadi now, bullying Makoti. That's not how our grandmother raised us. She was always loving to her Makoti.
Yes.
So there's that aspect. And I talked to Nosi, should we consider? And then, you know, then there's a lawyer friend of mine, because obviously I have background, legal profession, says to me, you must know that if you entertain talks with this family, you are reducing that guy's sentence. And I don't know why the investigating officer wouldn't mention that to me. No, even the prosecutor. So we didn't. Also the safety aspect. I remember saying to Drom at some point, but how would we know that we're safe? And she said, you can have the meeting at the Midrand SAPS. And then she says to me, she wouldn't I believe I even maybe captured screenshots. I just don't know where I placed them or if I lost them in the cloud of that conversation. Because at that moment, I said to Nosi, I don't have the evidence now. But this is looking suspicious to me. This investigating officer is acting like she's got a better relationship with the accused than she does with us. And that she's doing the bidding on their behalf. And this is such a huge difference from a person who made assurances to us. He won't gain bail. We will make sure this guy is taught a lesson, to the person who's now facilitating settlement talks.
Yes.
And this is even before the prosecutor is involved in the case. So we said no at that time. It's too soon.
Okay.
And we don't feel safe. And I said, no, see, I smell a rat here. I'm not going to be involved in selling my brother's memory. And we left it at that.
Okay.
So they didn't reach out to us. But I kept in conversation with Drom. And I was suspicious of her, but I kept in conversation. And do you know the person who activated me is actually Sergeant Drom?
Who activated
in terms of getting mad.
Oh, okay.
But not because she had an interest in justice, or at least that's what I believe, and I'm willing to stand on that. Because Bushe and his attorneys had managed to offend her. And that's when I knew the concave is fighting.
Okay.
And this is when I strike. because I was waiting for a gap. At this point, I had suspected a ret, and I said, these people are together. So what she said to me, she said, Buhle's lawyer is arrogant. And in terms of talking to the family about negotiations, he said he's got a contact. Like there's an aspect to the story. Remember, Xolani used to visit my uncle's family. I want to mention that relationship had been strained. Xolani was no longer talking. Our uncle passed on. He was no longer talking to Umalmegas. So when she says there's a contact, I immediately thought of Umalmegas because Ubuhle's family would only know if family Yamalmegas engaka. And that would be wrong. And there's an aspect, a whole family politics aspect to the story that is dark on its own.
You don't say?
Yes. So there's a connection between Ubuhle and Umalmegas.
Okay.
Because Umalmegas was in Kakan and Ubuhle would have been a neighbor.
Yes.
And Xolani meets them there.
Yes.
And that relationship had soured. Xolani was no longer talking to Umalmegas.
Okay.
And I knew there was no one else in the family. Who else? Most of the family is gone. Who makes the lawyer arrogant? And I found myself offended because Umalmegas didn't come to Xolani's funeral.
Oh. Did you get
Again,
an apology?
family politics. No. She got mad. Yeah, I stand accused of chasing her away from a funeral because I said to her, you know tradition. Umuntu meshona, kumele kube khona ohlala etshalini. I said, usekhona umamncane udadewabo ma stands in for the mother. And when anoxolani nangazwani. So please show up as a family member. Let's join hands. But you cannot sit etshalini because I'm uncomfortable. Even Unosipho was uncomfortable because she knew Xolani wanted nothing to do with you.
Okay.
And she decided she wasn't going to come to the funeral. And her son, Naik Amalako Xolani, didn't even come inside the house. So there was a repeated cycle of us feeling scorned, as the kids that are remaining and undermined.
Okay.
And so now if you find out this person who didn't show up might be, I'm not saying it's true. This is a suspicion.
Okay.
And so Utrom basically is selling them because she's not getting her way.
Okay.
It seems the lawyer has managed to get his own contact without needing her. And she's mad about it.
Okay.
And at that time, I'm just like, I get the information that I need. I say nothing to her. Let her talk. So she says to me, you should write to the senior prosecutor and ask why this guy got bail. And this is 2023. And there, I'm thinking, Trom thinks I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this a question? You knew we wanted this bail opposed. Why didn't you even guide us? You know, I've just recently learned in law, and I hope victim families know out there, you can actually oppose bail on your own without the prosecutor. I didn't know that.
Imagine.
I read the law, and I noticed lately that I could have. And if I knew, I would have stood up in that court and say, I want to oppose this bail. I probably would have lost because I'm not well vested in criminal law, but I would have. But they know we have all these rights. And she knew there was this option all along. Why am I getting this information in 2023? Because you are now upset with the lawyer.
So tell me, how long did the perpetrator stay in jail?
He stayed for 7 days and then he was out on bail.
He was out.
Yeah. That's essentially what happened. So now she's telling me that I could be writing to the prosecutor to question bail. She's giving me now advice that I could make sure the matter is transferred to the High Court. Where was this advice if you were so invested in the beginning? So you see, this is where the legal training for me comes in.
Okay.
Yes, you're giving me good advice, but why now?
The timing is,
I mean, we're talking now 6 to almost 8 months in. And you are frustrated now because this lawyer is undermining you. So you were good to not tell us this information when you guys were not undermining each other. Why is that? So my mind will ask these questions. And at this point, I was like, you know what, it's fine. This is where I start building my case of the incompetence I'm witnessing. So I started writing the letters to the prosecutor, where now I was not getting any replies.
Okay.
And I kept escalating. I got one reply a reply, and then I kept being sent. This is the prosecutor you need to be sent to. This is the prosecutor you need to be sent to. No response, none whatsoever. And then I go to court. The matter is being postponed. We don't even know the reason. The prosecutor, Gianni, doesn't even talk to us. As a matter of fact, I think I made a mention that at some point when he decided to come greet us, he referred to Unosipho as the accused wife. As in, she's Buhle's wife. To tell you how much the accused had a relationship and a rapport with the investigating officer and the prosecutor, Uchiani, at the time. And I must mention, Buhle, I think it's Buhle's mother, was in the police. I told you my uncle was in the police force.
Yes.
So Buhle's mother worked with my uncle in the police force. And we wondered if a sense of comradeship then grew there. Uguti, his parents maybe. But yes, they were parading around like a very mighty, powerful family. They showed up in numbers to support Buhle at court. It was just me and Unosi. My brother was too broken to show up.
To come through.
So it was me and Unosi. It was just the two of us dealing with a group of people. And I will never forget how they looked at us.
What I want to also check, as we're talking about the court environment, who was representing you?
At that point, we had Ujiane, the prosecutor, but the prosecutor would greet Unosi as the accused wife. So did we feel we had support? Now I don't trust Utrom. And then it leads to the conversation that happened, being led by the prosecutor, and Utrom was working Unosi. She was working Unosi. You must accept the offer. It doesn't happen often. Utrom was working Unosi. And I think they were hoping rule and divide would work at that point.
Hence
and
they would go to Unosi.
That Unosi would be the vulnerable one. Hey, this one is not the wife. You are the wife. You're the one who's suffering with the kids. She isn't. So when we got into the room and the prosecutor made this offer, I remember laying into them verbally. And I said, you guys think I will sit here and let you insult my brother's memory? How are you even making this offer to the family? This is when they position 500,000. Look, legally, the accused is allowed to try and have a plea deal.
Okay.
But he came to ask this prosecutor with an offer where the accused is saying he wants to serve a sentence outside, a suspended sentence.
So this is not him apologizing. This is him trying to get out.
What apology? Ubuhle is way above an apology. He is arrogant. His lawyer is arrogant. We were just dealing with arrogance throughout. And you know what? It's a pity we don't have a recording of what was said in the car. Because my feeling is that he even told Xolani that I would kill you and I will buy my way out of it. I'll get away with it. Because, I mean, if you watch the exchange, the longer footage, you would see that he was pointing the gun at him and he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say. So the arrogance of I will get out of this using money is very loud in this case. It is very loud. And this is precisely why I said no amount of money. You know, I don't know if the position would be different if you know this was a sincere accident. Someone lost their marbles. I don't know, because you have to consider the kids. Think about the kids first. But in this case, the arrogance in it, the money is an insult. I just said to Nosi, sis, it's probably not fair that I should say this, but this guy must go to hell with his money. He can use it on his lawyers since he has a lot of money. He can spend it there. But at no point does he get to spend money knowing very well that he fulfills his arrogance for killing my brother. There was no moment of sorry there. That family was staring at us down like we're nothing. Like, guys, energy doesn't lie. You can tell when you're dealing with parents that are embarrassed. That was a family out in numbers to proudly support Ubuhle.
You can't touch us.
Yeah, we come in numbers and you guys are going to feel us. And these are people who know the background. They know Xolani's story. So they knew that there was no one. So that adds insult. For me, standing and feeling like I have to stand like a board, I need to multiply myself as a woman, was understanding that these people undermine our family. They undermine what Xolani stood for. They undermine the fact that he worked so hard to make something of himself. And yes, this becomes insult where you think this privileged kid, he was always privileged. And now we're not jealous about that, but you still want to undermine him even in his death.
Even more.
When you are the one who was irritated by his aura.
That's something else. When we look at the timeline, you guys went to court.
Yeah.
And then after court, was it then when you had this offer tabled to you? When was the offer tabled?
Yes, the offer was tabled around 2023. So it was rejected. They came back with a higher offer of 750K. This was positioned to Nosi only after the prosecutor and Sergeant Trom, Gianni and Trom, told her that she should just disregard me. You know, I talk a lot, but she's the wife and so forth. So she still told me about it. And we agreed because I said, Nosi, how are we going to justify 750,000, whether we use it towards fees, not just mentioning that Xolani was worth way more by his credentials and qualifications and the potential of what he had to make. Xolani could make 1.5 million on a worst date over a 6-month period on his worst day. So I'm like, never mind that Xolani was worth way more if we're considering what he was worth and his future earnings. How do we explain to boy kids, good and well, we can get the money now. It will be gone. Yeah. With the lifestyle you got accustomed to with your husband, that money will be gone. 6 months is too long. You know very well, Nosi. 6 months is too long with the 750,000. So how do we explain to the kids that this guy got a lighter sentence because we agreed to take money?
We're part of the plot now.
You're part of the plot
from,
to insult their father's pride and legacy that he was always going to be for sale because he comes from a poor background and he wasn't doing well financially in his death. So everything about him was easily buyable.
I want to take you back to the court environment.
Yes.
Looking at the perpetrator, there you are. There's your first look at him. What's going through your mind? What are you seeing?
So we managed to keep our cool, even though I was angry. I've never experienced such dark anger. I would look at him and his family, dark thoughts. I don't want to lie. I'm a lawyer by profession, but I looked at the lawyer. There's a standard where I'm supposed to understand. And this is where, I tell people, don't just assume someone knows everything and they are above any amounts of pain just because they are legally trained. I'm still a victim in this situation, a human at that point. My qualification doesn't matter. I'm looking at the lawyer. He's part of the enemies. My brother was killed. I saw the footage. I see him parading with his chest out, and I've had an exchange of words with that lawyer. And it becomes personal. I'm no longer the professional who understands that lawyers can fight at court and still have coffee. I'm a victim now. Someone has died. Someone has gotten bail. I was extremely angry. I was extremely angry, and I felt small. It's the two of us. It's a whole team of them.
Yeah, and the persona? How was his persona?
Look, he was... Observation, because there was a friend who came to one of the initial hearings and they said, that guy's arrogant. He walks as if he knows he's getting out of this. Yeah, so the arrogance was really strongly always there. That's how I experienced him. That's how everyone else who observed him experienced him, that there was pride, there was arrogance, there was angnendaba aspect to it,
And that's further worsened by the offers.
It's further worsened by the offers because, this is not regret, I've killed my friend. This is, I'm going to get away with it. And I want you guys to support me getting a suspended sentence. And I'm not sorry. I'm just saying, take this money and walk away. There's no emotional sense of atoning to it. It's I've got the resources. I've got the resources to do it. So that's essentially what happened leading to those. And I didn't act immediately. After the offers came, I said, okay, it's a plea deal legally. They haven't really done anything wrong, legally speaking. So we've rejected the plea deal as is. The case must proceed. And that's my observation. No substantial proof towards this. It felt like we were being punished by the case being postponed because we refused the offer. Because Throm told me that, these cases take forever and a person can even take 5 years. I was like, what's happened to the faith? You told us this could be straight life. Why do you doubt he might not get life now? What has changed?
What happened?
So for me, those questions just kept coming. Why has your tune changed? And, it got to a point, and I said to her when we got to, was it June 2024? I said, Throm, if this matter doesn't proceed, I think the date was supposed to be the 2nd June or something. I said, if this doesn't proceed one more time for June, I'm going to create havoc. And she said to me, I've seen so many families try to push their matters. It never goes anywhere. And this is when deep inside I said, I'm not many families. I'm not many families. This is not going to die a quiet death. I don't know what you guys are discussing, but I don't feel that I have this investigating officer on my side or my family's side or my brother's side. And I can't trust this prosecutor. He literally sat there and pitched this offer with confidence and tried to convince, not only that, went further to try and convince Nosi to disregard me. And he wanted this out of his desk. It's either incompetence or he's built a nice relationship with the accused. I'm not sure which one it is. But I was like, we have no one at this point. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew that I had to do something. And it was at that point, at some point I just thought I'll write to all the judges mails, because I had all of them. And I was like, I need something that doesn't make me look like a lunatic. I need to reel my emotions in.
Yes.
And I remember I had this moment when I was just crying and frustrated. And that's when I recorded that first TikTok video. I remember thinking at that time, I need to do something. And it just felt like something said to me, do it raw. Don't try and look perfect. I mean, I'm a girl. I care about how I look. The people who know me will know that. But they said, do it raw as you are. Just speak from your heart and let the message go. And that's the one video that's at over 1.1 million views right now. So I do believe that it was God also just stepping into the situation and saying, do what you need to do. I've got your back. Because there was a lot of frustration now. I was trying to make it go viral. And I said, let me just use social media. And now I was trying. I mean, my Twitter is still funny looking. It's sorrowful looking. I tried to post it. And now I was tagging all the famous people you can think of. I remember tagging Mina Dlamini on one of my posts because I thought she might relate. She had grieved her brother very openly for all to see. Anyone who was famous, I can't remember all. I remember Minnie specifically. I remember some journalists. I think one was from ENCA. There's a lady who brands herself as a social activist, and she basically told me to F off on a DM to say I must stop tagging her on my post. I was shocked and hurt. I tried to go to Chris XL. I was going to anyone I could go to. Chris XL. There was someone called The Instigator. The Instigator told me that he's going to charge me money. I was shocked because I was discovering how influencers and social media works. I was like, I have to... Hey guys, So I went through this part. I remember at some point I was like, I resent influencers because none of them responded, hey? None of them responded. I was like, I resent them. These people will claim to stand for something. They only stand for something when it benefits them.
It's all
so
an act.
I was bitter. I was frustrated. So when I recorded that video, I was at that, I'm helpless. And so this is when I became resolute that I need to build my own following. Because none of these people are going to do anything. For my family, for my brother, I'm the one who knows the pain. So I started the video and then it went viral. And a varsity friend, Derek Scott Robbins, then saw, and Derek is a white male, obviously. And he said, I mean, at that point, I knew nothing about AfriForum. You see all the headlines and everything. And he said, you need to reach out to them. And he said, tag this guy, Barry Bateman, on Twitter. So yes, I had started gathering it was going viral on TikTok on its own. And people were pitching in now saying, try this and try that. I tagged Barry Bateman. That also started changing the trajectory now of their attention because then AfriForum jumps in. And then I find out that they have a private prosecution wing that helps all South Africans, not just white South Africans. And look, I'm not going to get involved in the political discourse around AfriForum and what they stand for and what's there in the media. I just know that there's a private prosecution wing that is helping more Black people, actually.
Okay.
That's my observation. I have referred people, unfortunately, not every case that comes through. You know, my brother's case is a bit more straightforward as well, such that everyone has to stand up and say, why has it taken it so long? So sometimes people do get disappointed, but sometimes the evidence is all over the place and it's really hard for private prosecution to factor in. I must mention that it's not privately prosecuted as well, but their involvement resulted in Prosecutor Gianni being removed from the case.
Okay.
And then Prosecutor Mapiri then took over. He seemed to be more credible in terms of how he approaches, and we started seeing the case progress even a bit more. He's also not immune to the tactics that the defense may come up with to try and avoid or to try and stall the case. But in terms of knowing the reasons why the matter is postponed, we found ourselves in a better position, like knowing what is happening and seeing more progress around this and seeing a strategy, because we didn't even know what the strategy was going to be around the case. But there's one thing that continues to offend me. So the last time that we were at court, I thought Throm had been removed as well from the case. And then I saw that Throm has a handle on the witnesses. And she was there and she didn't even greet us. This is someone who's supposed to be standing in for the victims, for sure. We are the victims in this situation. My brother's not there to speak for himself. We are traumatized. We are the family. We are the victims that are left dealing with this. She didn't even greet us. And this is exactly how Gianni behaved. And I was like, what did Midra and SAPS do when we raised the alarm about what was happening in this case? And this is the question now about whether this should now be referred to IPID. Because for me, it offends me that someone who acted the way she does is someone I still have to look at when I go to court. I would love an explanation for that. And that's the other angle that I'm not letting go. Because now I have to question if she's still involved, and I cannot trust her. We cannot trust her as the victim family. Could there be other conversations happening still? Honestly, with the state of affairs right now, we don't know.
So usually when Throm communicates, she would go to Nosi.
She would go to Nosi, but she's not communicating with either of us now. So she basically vanished. She stopped attending court. We haven't seen Throm at court for over a year. And now that we're supposed to be proceeding with trial, and then she came, she was prepping one of the witnesses. And I was like, wow, isn't that interesting? And also, this is what I discovered. So we've gone to day one of trial. When it was time to call the officer that was first to arrive on the scene, it wasn't Throm that was called. There's another officer who told us that they arrived 3 hours. We had the impression the police were there when Xolani was picked up and taken to hospital. And he advised, I think this thing happened around 2, I may get the times wrong. And then we found out that the police arrived about 2 or 3 hours later.
Imagine.
And they basically built their case from the evidence on the floor.
Wow.
Throm's utterances to us versus us last month, or was it July, finding out that it was a different officer altogether that arrived on the scene, and Xolani had been long taken to hospital. So why were we given the impression that they saw everything?
Yes, that they were there.
That's a misrepresentation. I'm going to call it for what it is. So how am I supposed to trust Throm, who evoked our emotions and made us feel that she knows, she saw, and she feels it closely, only to find out that she didn't even? Is it exaggeration, or is it just... Why misrepresent and play with people's feelings like that? And then you have the audacity after everything to not even greet us at court. You could say, I'm sorry, guys, there's been a misunderstanding. I'm still here. I don't care what you say. Something. You're representing the victim's family. Xolani is gone. Why is it that our government officials, be it a prosecutor, and, excluding Mapiri out of this, he's done so much better than what Gianni did. But why do our government officials, our civil servants, think that they stand a position above normal citizens. It is disrespectful. A life has been lost. You may have become desensitized because you see these cases all the time, but there's still victims there.
True. Someone still needs to go back to a home where, the victim is absent. Someone is feeling the pain of loss. It's quite unfortunate that things like these still do happen. I mean, with almost each and every guest we have here, this is the same sort of pattern that we're seeing from our public servants. It's like a repetitive pattern, and it's really scary when you look at it because it's become such a culture generally in our country.
It has.
People are getting tired. So what you're seeing now generally is that you've got more instances of people trying to solve it themselves. We don't want to take it there.
And we're not getting lawyers that are like the Olivia Tambos. We're not getting lawyers like Mandela, whatever the legacy and, I'm not involved in the conversation, but I'm talking about the foundation. Think about the lawyers who went in for justice, who stood in for justice. And we've become desensitized such that lawyers who practice... No, guys, I'm just going to call it because we've become complacent. Lawyers who practice criminal law know very well it's a going conversation that there's corruption in the criminal justice system. I may not be able to prove it, but they know it's spoken about. We've become so desensitized and complacent, and we are so the educated people of this society. So when people say to me, you're a lawyer, you should know better, I do know better. But there's the aspect that I'm also a human as well.
True.
You really think I care what section whatsoever says, but I still have to respect it. Because right now, as a victim, I couldn't care about the Criminal Procedure Act that grants the right of bail to criminals. Right now, I'm saying that needs to be altered where there is factual evidence, where there is evidence, and they say prima facie.
Yes.
Legal terms. If there's that case, the laws then should be stricter. Why is this right of bail not subject to the limitation clause? And then again, I don't want to go there. Why is it not subject to the limitation clause of the Constitution? Why have we become so desensitized and that we are so okay that the Constitution must favor people who can act like the alleged killer Bushe? Because he's doing that because the Constitution, even though the intention of the Constitution was right and it was honorable, and the Constitution was made that way because the law didn't favor African people, black people at the time. But how about the fact that now we're not dealing with political wars, we're dealing with crime? And that not everything should be then so hunky-dory, let's hug a tree when people are killing each other.
No, that's true.
Because how are we different from America if someone can use a gun like this guy has done?
True. That can happen.
And even America is raising an alarm about the fact that guns are easily usable. This country, guns are easily accessible and usable as well, but we're not making noise about that. And there are crime victims about that. There's people who are being sexually assaulted and they have to watch the perpetrator walking for the next few years and they have to go to court for the next 5 years. The Omotoso trial, some victims ended up losing their speed to become witnesses, which is what is supposed to happen in my brother's case. Because now the lawyer submitted a sick note. Well, look, I'm not sure. So I want to correct this one. I thought it was up to December. I may have been incorrect about that.
Okay.
But what the effect of his sick notes is that our matter had to be postponed and no proper arrangement was made to make sure that the matter proceed. And I stand on business when I say it was another delay tactic. Yes, I can't question the doctor because there's privileged information. Again, our Constitution allows that. And I understand that. Obviously, our rights and our interactions with our doctors must be protected. But yes, I don't trust it because they have delayed this matter before until I acted. And right now, we're supposed to go to day 2 of the trial. So yes, this does set us back because we could have wrapped up on the trial aspect of this now in September. We're not able to. We're being strung along so that we don't move on.
Yeah, so there's delay. But how long has this matter been running up until now?
Well, it happened in August 2022. So 2023, 2024,
2025.
it's 3 years now.
What's your general feeling about this case overall?
To tell you the truth, I do feel that we are progressing. I have no reason to doubt the magistrate that we have. I find him strict. I have no reason to doubt Mapiri, but you never know with these guys. That's the truth. If there's any discussion, there's nothing that has presented to me. For me right now, it's on the accused, and obviously whatever tactics they plot with their lawyer, and that's that. And the law allows them to do it, you know. And the feel right now is that it's become the norm. There's so many cases. With me, I'm educated enough and privileged enough to raise noise and make noise about it. But people have become desensitized because it's become the norm that cases, murder trials, rape trials take this long. Look at a high-profile case. High-profile case. The soccer player.
Yes. Mayor case.
The Mayor case, yes. It's taken long. At some point, they had AfriForum involved as well.
So generally, if things like you and this case, if this scenario that you're going through keeps happening to, as it is happening to many other cases, many other South Africans, many other citizens, where do you think this will end as a country? Where do you think?
No, we have a crisis unless some of us who studied the law decide to stand up. I think on my side, you know, we had a separate discussion. I want to stand up and do something as a lawyer because my motivation for studying law was human rights. But obviously we get influenced over time that there's no money in human rights, do this, do that, and so forth. I just think this country has a vacuum right now for lawyers who actually stand up like the lawyers from the olden days did. Why are lawyers okay with their matters being dragged? And this is a different conversation altogether. There are lawyers who have lost work right now. The RAF, there's so many black lawyers who have lost work right now because of what's happening in civil litigation and so forth. And so for me, that would be the call to action. Being a lawyer doesn't make you less of a victim. And you need to understand if there's a human rights violation, you are a victim. It's either you're part of the problem or you are a victim. There's no in between.
True. I want to also dive into a space where we talk about personal impact.
Yeah.
The person that you were, now we're moving away from referencing perpetrator. We're talking about Cindy now. The Cindy that was before the first call and the Cindy that is now. What has that person endured?
Whew. Get emotional. I lost my spark. You know, someone even commented, when I started TikTok, I wasn't even trying to do anything. I was just following trends. I deleted most of those videos because I said I'm repurposing TikTok for my brother's case. But I think I left 2 or 3 videos, you know, where I'd be dancing silly and so forth. And someone said, you were such a happy person before this case. That is the truth. It affected me. It affected how I show up in relationships. It affected my heightened level of distrust in people. If you fall out with me as a friend, good luck getting back in. I think I already had that high standard then, but my brother was killed by a so-called fake friend. So yes, at this point right now, I'll tell you the truth. I really don't value having a friend per se. It's either I'll consider you a sister and you've been there for a very long time. But yeah, if ever there was an opportunity for me, because just like Xolani, the forgiving heart as well has always been a big feature of my persona, because that's how our grandmother was. You know, I may not forget, but understanding that give someone a chance, have a conversation and so forth. With me, I'll give someone a chance, opportunity, and then from there, I'll decide. But I suppose Xolani and I were different. With me, I do have that Cardi B element to me, like it's going to be beef forever. You know? So yeah, perhaps a little bit harder on that aspect, on the trusting aspect, if I bring someone back in. But if that was extreme, now it's even worse. If I get a whiff of I can't trust you. With me, I'm ready to cut you off almost immediately. It does affect how I show up socially as well.
And how has this impacted you spiritually?
Spiritually, yeah, I've been through the ringer. You know, on TikTok, I posted very emotional videos talking because I was triggered around his birthday and the case coming up, and I talked about the pits of depression that I went through. Also, I often try to avoid talking, although I have, opened up about it on TikTok, the spiritual aspect of this case. I was like, I don't want it to become a Daily Sun spectacle where we are talking about tokoloshis and so forth. But if I were to tell you the day I go to court, when I go back home, if I sleep well, no, I don't. No, I don't. I definitely have experienced paranormal activity because of this case. So the spiritual element to whatever was done is strongly there. But things in the spirit you can't prove. But I think my ground on top of it, because I come from a traditional family where and so forth. But my path became clear because at some point I went through a confusion as to which route I need to pursue and so forth, being that I would also get very vivid dreams of my brother. There was a dream that I had specifically of him saying, "You've been crying too much. Let me rather fetch you now. You will not wake up from this dream.
Wow.
I want to fetch you." And I remember, because our relationship, the dynamic was funny, that I said, "Yo, bro, the death was your theology, not my theology.
Yeah.
I'm not coming." And but that aspect of spiritual activity around me was so heightened, and also questioning which route to take. For me, I decided I'd back to Christ because I was raised as a Christian, and ultimately that's what the road led me to. That I was raised by a prayerful grandmother who spoke to God during the day, whenever, and that's what I'm going to do. Even though there were always undertones of tradition, even with her, but the strong thing was her prayer. She all the time, whatever it would be done on the occasion, if someone has passed on or whatever. But her strong thing was that I have stood like this without the money to go wherever and wherever. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've become my grandmother in that sense with me as well. I was just like, Christ, God is the way. My life is in God's hand. I think the biggest fear, obviously, for everyone is that this case, would take my life and that I would die. And at some point that I thought that was a possibility. It may still be, but I'm not going to, speak truth to those. That is a lie. I believe in God, and I believe He's got a bigger purpose for me above this case. And, I was like, why am I the one who's scared about dying when the person who killed is the one who should be scared? There's a lot of people watching him. There was a lot of people who loved Xolani, and he also has made a lot of enemies for himself. So if he's looking at me, there's 1,000 other eyes looking at him who would love to have him for breakfast. So I was like, that fear belongs with him. I will no longer be scared because I worked myself to a depression. My son got depressed, but I'm like, I didn't kill anyone. I'm a good citizen. I do a lot of non-profit work. I do work with crime victims, and that's something I want to do more, even publicly, because I think we should be focusing on doing positive than negative, and it's okay if people are bragging about helping people, guys. There needs to be positive social media that we engage in about helping each other. But I just told myself I will no longer be in fear. If it's my time to die, it will be because God has allowed it or has said it's okay, my child, at any time that you come back. But, untimely death is rebuked by the Bible. So we pray against untimely, death. Xolani's death was untimely. As people who die young, it is untimely. So I continue to position that through Christ to say, there's so much I want to achieve in this life. I also believe that you co-sign your own death spiritually. There was a time when I felt like I could smell the stench of death because I was also co-signing over my life, and my son was getting dreams about me dying too. And I said, I am co-signing because I'm depressed and I'm tired. And a part of me says, at least Xolani is resting. Maybe I need to rest as well. Because there's a time when it catches up with you. Yes, we did well. We got the education. We worked ourselves from the poor background to, some middle class type of lifestyle. That is true. It doesn't make us less victims and so forth. And you'll always relate to all worlds. But you get to a point where you're just like, I'm tired of being in survival mode. Because for me, it felt like looking at my childhood, because, Xolani worked himself. I also had to work myself out of it too. He was a big role model to me. Our older brother had to work himself out of it too. So where you feel like you've had to fight harder than most people to make something of yourself. So I got to a point earlier this year where I felt like I am so tired of fighting for everything. Why couldn't this be an open shut case? Why did I have to lose my brother? We'd already lost our parents. We already lost our grandmother. We've lost a lot. Did we have to be the last joke, really? With this additional death? And does my family need to deal with more death by me being taken out? Because, I mean, that's the worry. I'm dropping names, right? I'm very bold and courageous in what I do. But all I'm saying is if they think I need to worry about my life and this is not a threat, maybe they need to worry a little bit more, because Xolani was loved by a lot of people.
To your point, because I hear you speaking now, and I'm resonating, remembering someone told me something, and they said, when your last memory, when like you will fade from being a physical person and you will be a memory. So in that memory that stays behind, what will you stand to represent?
Yeah.
And it made me realize that we're fighting for a lot of things. But at the end of the day, all that's left is a memory.
There's a theme about your personality. It's so funny. I said that when Xolani died. I said death crystallizes the essence of a human being.
Powerful.
It didn't even matter. I mean, I wasn't talking to him before he died. But when he died, I remembered that he was love. He was there for me. It didn't matter the fights that we had. None of it mattered. So death... we all make mistakes and we hold ourselves to a standard of perfection. But death will always crystallize your personality.
It's true. And my point to that is you stand in the shoes of many great people that came before you.
Yeah.
You are an anchor. You hear me talking about anchors. These anchors are people that hold us firm. Because more than anything, the world wants to tear us apart. And the one thing that will keep you grounded and settled is the fact that there is someone out there who expects more from you. So when you talk about your son and you talk about, the Nosi, the wife, and you talk about your older brothers and you talk about all these people, and also the fact that you're the one who's here now, you are that anchor that they all look to. So the strands that connect to you are a lot.
Yeah.
Specifically in the sensitive time that you guys as a family are in right now.
Yeah.
Your position is very central. It's one of the most important. And
I've resented that for a long time. I'm going to tell you now. The past few years, I think part of the fight with Xolani was because of that. I got tired of being the strong one. He's always... even voiced it as concern. He said, your man will always be scared of you. You're very strong. And it's my fault. He always said, I trained her to be that strong. And it's true, because we spent a lot of time. Yeah. So I was known as the sweet, timid child.
Yeah.
And I blossomed into character. Yeah. And he'd always taken accountability. And it made more sense for me when he died. I was like, that little nonsense actually did that to me. And he was like, I was afraid people will walk all over her. Yeah. So I made her strong. I used to bully her and prick her a lot. Yeah. And she became feisty. And now I'm worried she's become too feisty. So there was a point in my life where I did a Tinder profile and I said, I put up a Tinder profile because my brother has put me on terms. He wants to marry since I'm not on Tinder anymore. But I was like, my brother said he wants Usbari. And, our relationship was close. I was very mindful that even if I have a partner, you've got to get along with X, eh?
Exactly.
If a guy couldn't get along with X, I'd be like, you're definitely a problem.
Yeah.
There's no way. Proper. It's funny because I used to fight him, but I'd still rate guys out of being able to get along with him, which tells you siblings, as family, we fight a lot when we love each other a lot and we give each other a lot of pain and we don't even observe how much actually in real time we do love each other. But like I told you, I don't regret because I think, I spent enough time praising him loudly as well.
And I think he trained you. Even now, you're still undergoing training because of him.
I'm telling you now, whoever I'm meant to be, that is a big revelation. Yeah. Whoever I'm meant to be is coming through him still.
Yeah, powerful. and your journey is still unfolding. So, but my point is, don't give up. You are tethered to a lot of people. Even the funny thing is the fact that you've got a following now means that you're even tethered to more people that hold you as an anchor. There's someone out there who has
I started building a following because I was mad at influencers for not making my brother's case trend, and I was like, okay, now we have to build a following so to make it trend. But the question is, what beyond that? It's beyond this case. We've got serious issues as a country.
Yeah. I think going forward, because we've spent quite a lot of time, and I feel like we deserve more time. I wanted to sort of probe you, and this will be a sensitive one, because I guess this is something that you probably think of every day. If you could talk to the perpetrator, what would you say to him? If you could just talk to this person, what would you say?
Yo, I'd say this in Xolani's voice. Bro, you're a loser. Bro, you are so lame.
Yeah.
And you thought holding a gun makes you more powerful. And I think I've said this before. Xolani will always be known as a family man, a loving brother, a business-minded person, the kid who made it out of a poor childhood. Your legacy is murder. Your kids will Google your name. And they'll find murder accused, killer, brazen gun holder. You've killed the Mabaso surname. People who are Mabasos are ashamed to be associated with you. And the more famous the case gets, the more you make it awkward for your entire bloodline. That stays. Whether something happens to me, you've killed Xolani, he's not coming back. I know that. But I'm crystallizing his personality. And he towers over you the same way he's always towered over you over life, because the odds were against him. You had the privilege, he didn't. But you still stayed jealous of him. Because I don't care whether the motive was greed at the time. Whatever happened between those two, what's very clear is that you were intimidated by Xolani. So you are so lame, bro. You needed a gun to handle him.
Yeah.
And you thought you were ending his legacy. You ended yours.
Deep. It's powerful.
His kids, maybe they should consider changing their names. Xolani, Mhlongo, Kunene, on both surnames. He stays a tower. He stays a tower, and we're going to build amazing things in his honor and his legacy.
Yeah.
Who's going to be trying to build amazing things in your name? Buhle Mabaso, who? The killer.
Going forward, I guess where he's sitting, he's going to digest if he does watch.
He's got people. Oh, I wanted to mention Zugile. This is very important information. So when I started uploading about the case, he made a profile. I think he thought I forgot about him. And he put his brother's profile picture. And the account had 0 followers, and it was following me. I sent a Facebook message to him to say, hey, Wena, I know that's you. Following me. You are Xolani's friend. Why are you not calling us and asking us what's happening with the case?
Yeah. So he doesn't have a media profile footprint as well?
But Zugile, Tiliza, he's on Facebook.
Okay.
Look, I told him kak on Facebook, and then I blocked him.
You're headstrong.
I am. I'm quite feisty. Xolani was the same, but he thought I was a bit extra. But that's where I know that the other part I got from my grandmother, and I've resented it for a very long time. I felt like I'm too much, and people have made me feel like I'm too much. I'll never match with anyone. And you know what? I've gotten to a space where I said, it's fine, guys.
I think maybe before we reach closure, I really want to use this opportunity for these last few minutes to give you an opportunity to send a message of inspiration to your family and anyone who feels that they are lacking hope with regards to this whole thing. I want you to speak to them, because I know that in this world that we live in, you don't get a lot of opportunities to have those heartfelt conversations with everyone, at least. So if you could send a message to them and speak to them individually, what would you tell them? What would you say?
Oh my God. Individually for my family, I'll start with Umthokozisi. my brother. You are stronger than you know. You're not every bad thing that has happened to you. So I must mention, softly, outside. So he watched our mom. He saw our mom was sick. So when our mom took her last breath, he saw her. So that was a trauma. He was 12. And as a grown-up, he lost his only boy to a drowning. And then Xolani's case that broke him. I know it broke him. I love that guy. He always says, I love Xolani more. I think I was closer to Xolani more. But I love all my siblings. And grief is a love with no place to go. Yes, I was closer to Xolani more. But I admire him so much because he's the first graduate at home. He went to Wits. And he's just so much stronger than he knows. And he's also stood like a tower. And I want him to trust that. I want him to trust that he can still achieve so many things in this life because he has done it before. And I believe in him and I pray for him. And we are not this tragedy. It doesn't define us. We are not all the sad things that have happened to our family.
Just check that.
Yeah. My sister would be, you're also not everything that has happened to you. She took Xolani's death very hard. And I stand here, I don't stand for just myself. Yes, I get the spotlight, people see me. And it's not just glam, this is about purpose at this point. And I want her to know that she is loved and that she has to grow and be strong for her kids. And that even women carry the legacy of their families and it's okay. And because she's the only one that's left at home with her kids.
Okay.
That she needs to stand firm and know that she is worth something. And that Xolani's death was not in vain. And we need to stand strong for the legacy of our family, even though tui family si pelile.
Yeah.
People say, hey, Kwamhlong Kyle pelile. And we will come out stronger from this. We will rebuild from the ashes. And I accept my role. I'm fine now. And I think I'm realizing that now. That's why I get emotional. I'm okay with being the matriarch. I'm okay with being the ungovernable female. It's okay. Too strong, too whatever. It's fine. I'm very comfortable with that role right now. And that's what I'm going to take strongly and boldly and courageous so. Because at some point I just felt like no one else is going to do it. But the fact that I'm always the one that wants to do it, God is speaking to me. For people who have gone through this, guys, stand in the gap for your families. And I guess it's up to people like you and me as well. That's where the calling is. Let's give people the space to talk about it. How do we turn pain into purpose? Talk about your people. Be loud. We need to hold our government. We need to hold our institutions to the tether of delivering what was promised to us. We are the only ones that can save ourselves and our family and the honor of our families. We're the ones that need to stand up and do what needs to be done to get this country right. And moaning and crying about racial tensions is not going to take us anywhere. The fight is so much bigger than that. Yes, there's racial tensions. America has been free for more than 100 years, and racial tensions are worse than what they are in this country. But we need to stop being victims in our lives, and we need to stop watching our lives from the sidelines. For me, I refuse for someone to keep me held by a case, and I refuse. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a Christian. I do believe in forgiveness. I do forgive Busha for being pathetic. But yes, I'm still very angry. And I'm not a killer. And you're not a killer for being angry and going to those dark thoughts. But we need to turn pain into purpose. We have a crime situation in this country. It's a crisis. We have so many problems. And for people who are lawyers, let's be the lawyers that inspired us. And I'm talking to Black lawyers specifically. Most of you know that we were inspired by the Oliver Tambos, the Mandelas of our time. to take up law as a career. Where has that gone to? Why are we so shy of human rights right now? Things are falling apart. There are many good things that are happening in this country, but there's so many bad things. And we are the officers of the law that are supposed to raise the alarm and do the right thing. So that's where I am. We need to rise up as the new age leaders. We are the leaders that we need. No one is coming, guys. No one is coming. We must stop being fans. We must stop being followers. No one is coming to save us. We are going to bring the change that's needed.
Powerful. You just answered my last question, because I was going to ask as to what do you think should be done and so on. But what's your biggest ambition with regards to this whole matter? I don't want to leave gaps where someone is watching this. I want them to understand this 360.
Yeah.
With regards to this whole thing, what's your biggest ambition?
Yeah. The greatest people are born out of their pain. So it's finding my deeper purpose, because I lost my purpose.
Powerful.
I think my purpose started being chipped away at when I lost my grandmother. With my mother, there's a certain acceptance because I was young. It was still not nice, obviously, as a girl child. I acknowledge that fully. But my grandmother, obviously, having stood in as a grandmother, as a mother at the same time, she felt like my anchor. And you take things for granted, and then I lose Xolani. So it's understanding that God is the anchor. As you lose things, God is the anchor, and he's the role model and the idol that you should have. So I take it my grandmother was an idol in a way to me, and Xolani was an idol in a way. And grandmother went due to old age. Xolani was taken from us by the devil's work. But yeah, so the bigger goal is to find my purpose, because I have bled and I've lost myself fighting for my brother. And I have to ask myself, am I fighting for him or am I fighting for something bigger, because I lost my purpose? And secondly, yes, obviously I want justice in his case. That will always be the primary source. But creating impact. I want to create impact. I want to learn how to create more impact. I want to teach other people to create more impact. I just want to be in a world. I want to leave the world better than how I found it.
Yes. I'm already better.
I want the world to be better than how we find it. There's so many things that have happened in my life. Growing up without a mother, becoming a lawyer, moving from one class to the next, and being stuck in between the two worlds. So I know that there's a lot that I can say to other girls like me. But it's not just about women as well. For me, the conversation has been repackaged. It's not just about women as well. I'm tired of toxic feminists. I'm tired of angry black men. I'm just like, we need to repackage the future.
True.
And it needs to be better than what it is. And it can be so much better. And it just takes us stepping up from our circumstances to make the impact. So that's been the seed that's been planted with me. What do I do with this as I get people following me, sympathizing with me? There's life beyond this case. It is the truth that I'm also very tired of it. It's 3 years later. But what needs to be done needs to be done. But there's a bigger goal, and I do believe that God, life, whatever you call it, whatever you believe in, uses our circumstances to create change.
Powerful.
Powerful. So let's get the change.
I saw a TikTok video where someone said the doorstep to the next version of you lies at your lowest point.
No, I hit my lowest.
So
I've been suicidal because of this case.
Imagine. You sound like purpose.
Thank you for saying that.
The weight that you're carrying feels like purpose, because we all have such a fuzzy perspective of what purpose is. It's the same as someone who says, I want a lot of money. In hindsight, they're saying they want a big responsibility. And the way that feels is not what we think. Right?
It's so funny because you're making me think of, I think that's always been my prayer to God, what you just said now. So I was always debating chairperson.
Yeah.
The person who, when I held the mic, people will stop and listen. My son
Yeah.
has the same gift, funny.
Yeah.
And my prayer to God has always been, how do I use my gift for your good? And, you know, when you say that, and I think of this right now,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, Jesus, did it have to be like this? But
Yeah. It is right when it feels the way you feel,
yeah,
right? Because it's purpose.
yeah.
Imagine if you knew Jesus before he went to be sacrificed. That felt like purpose, right? Because the weight of that responsibility.
And even he prayed at some point and he
you
said,
get
God,
it. Get me out of here, man. I you get me. So that's what purpose is. If someone wants to have purpose in their life, you are asking for trouble.
yeah.
But God will give it to you because he sees that you have the shoulders to carry it.
Yeah.
And when it comes, you will feel this way.
Hey, but Imvana na.
Yeah. you are the purpose that you're seeking right now 100%. Where you are.
I agree with you.
So I think stop searching, embrace it.
Nah, I think the search is done, hey? It needs to be done. It's implementation time. We're not getting any younger, and we have postponed and we have delayed, and you know, sometimes, you know, in as much as you know, we don't want to go into preaching and so forth. I don't believe God, you know, does bad things to us. He does punish us for sure. There's scripture for that. But when bad things do happen, he does use the gap.
No, that's true.
When the devil strikes, he finds the gap for his purpose to be even bigger.
Yes.
So, you know, we get angry. I went through that anger.
Yeah.
God has favorites. Some people have always had their families. Some people were born into wedlock, not us. Some people have their elder people in their families, not us. And I was angry at God and I said, you have favorites. I see so many people have so many great things. Some people are married already. You know, we have all these wishes as well.
Yeah.
And here am I being branded a difficult one, whatever, you name it. So and that's coveting biblically. You look at other people and then you start thinking, God has favorites. God has favorites.
Yeah.
And then God will tell you. And it's funny because I went to church and that was the preaching. So I've had 2 sermons at church that felt like direct messages. The first, it's a husband and a wife. The wife, if anyone knows Stephen Chandler, the wife came to our church and she spoke about being broken because she's from Sierra Leone, you know, and being broken and how Jesus found her. And then the husband came a couple of weeks later and he talked about when you have suffered for so long that you must turn your pain into purpose. And I was like, God is very bold.
Powerful.
In nudging me right now.
Powerful.
It's just like when you look around, hey.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, judging by our conversations as well, what you're saying to me, God is active. So let's go, guys.
No, powerful. You studied for one career. God is putting you on another course and he's educating you in terms
on a pulpit.
This is where you must go. But you know what? Without wasting time, Cindy, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a heartfelt story. It's got many layers to it, and it speaks to so many people. Don't stop sharing. Keep sharing. We want to learn. We want to grow with you. You tend to raise points that we have forgotten. You know, some of the things that we're saying send shivers down my spine because we are not true candidates or true representatives or true ambassadors to the calling that God has called us to.
100.
We are mostly there as lawyers for the money and other reasons, but we're not there to live a memory that will last, right? All that will be read on our obituary, our qualifications. Yeah, so I was still saying that you should keep sharing, keep evolving. I think your cup is full. It's now time to pour into others now. And I feel like that's the next stage, but it's a path of self-discovery. And I feel like you've got a lot to share beyond just what's happening. There's a lot of layers to you, which I feel like, you know what, if you keep sharing, a lot of us will tether stronger to you. So thank you so much for coming through and sharing your story, and keep sharing. Don't give up.
Thank you.
Regardless of what happens with your case, you still have discovered something beyond that. And that for me would be the biggest lesson to today's episode, to say that you are not what is happening to you. what's happening is trying to carve a bigger version of the person you must become. And if you look at it as a result orientated exercise, you will see that the problem is trying to carve you into something better. So thank you so much, guys, for being with us. I really appreciate you for watching, if you have watched to where we are, because this is probably one of the longest episodes we've shot here. And I appreciate you guys for the support and the likes. And I know you're already commenting. I'm not even going to ask you to comment. I know there's comments at the bottom there that are just running like this. So thank you so much for engaging. We really will catch you on the next one. If you want to connect to Cindy, Cindy, where can they find you?
Okay, my TikTok account is LawyerBabyZ8. The same Instagram, the same on X. And yeah, guys, go on X. On X, I'm sorrows and pain trying to make the story trend still.
Yeah.
It's pitiful, but yeah, I would love to make it. I think that's the big dream. Make it trend on X, because I know there's impact there in audiences to be reached.
True. So let's guide her on the path that she's on, guys. Let's support her, let's push her so that she can close this chapter and move on. There are other chapters that she needs to open. There's other things that she needs to address. She's a beautiful person. She's a leader in how she speaks and how she represents herself, and that person needs to, come out of this. So let's guide her. Let's be with her. Let's support her the best way we can. So that we can have a better country. Guys, be responsible, be an ambassador, be accountable in whatever it is that you are doing. Don't do it just for the money, because the moment you put your head down, the money is gone. Do it for the thing that will remain, which is your legacy, your memory, your image. And in whatever you do or say, let that represent. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I will catch you on the next one. From me and the guys in studio, it's cheers for now.